Hi, friends. Welcome to On the Record, the Fat Records fan podcast, where we're going album by album, side by side, and roughly chronologically through the whole damn catalog. I'm one of your hosts, Ben, and as always, I'm joined by Alex and Josh.
What's up?
Hold on.
All right, so today's an EP episode. We're going to have a few EPs that we'll go through. And the first record we're going to talk about is 88 Fingers Louie's The Teacher Gets It. This is another, most of these EPs aren't really available on Spotify other than on like compilation albums.
Yeah, I ended up buying all three of them off of Fat's digital store,
Oh,
which is pretty handy for future stuff. They've got a lot of like all the 7 inches for like $2-3 digitally, which is pretty cool.
showing your support. I like it.
We'll provide a link in the episode description as always. So
I gotta grab my notes. Hang on.
no problem. Well, while we're waiting for Alex to come back with his notes, let's go
He's
through
back.
liner notes. This record was released on November 11th, 1997.
Never forget.
The band, I really wanted to make a never forget reference there. But
Hey man, like mines.
I held my tongue. So the band lineup was Dennis Buckley on vocals, Mr. Precision on guitar, Joe Principe on bass, and Dom Vallone on drums. I'm assuming that's
How was that?
It's so
I'm
French.
assuming it's Italian. Name.
The way that you pronounced it.
Real quick on the Wikipedia, it lists Dom as his nickname, which in the hierarchy of this band is definitely the lesser of the two nicknames. When you've got Dan, Mr. Precision versus quote Dom, it's a little weak, man.
Notice that I just went straight to calling him Mr. Precision because I was not going to successfully pronounce that last name.
That's one of those nicknames where you're like, it's funny and it probably started as like some sort of a joke. But then when you're like 40 and someone's like, Mr. Precision, you're like, fuck, that was a bad idea.
It's a difficult last name. What nationality do you think that is? I'm gonna try it. Williklinski?
That's Polish Hungarian all day.
Yeah.
As a Polak, that's a Polish Hungarian name all day.
It was
recorded. Precision is a total badass.
This record was recorded at Sonic Iguana Studios, we are assuming. We don't have any way to prove that. And it was produced and engineered by Mas Giorgini.
Giorgini.
It's a minefield out here, guys. We can't say anything.
Go full on Glorious Bastard with it. Mas Giorgini.
There wasn't much info about this record out there. I think all of these songs show up on the Dom years, so you can get them there with no problem. All right. So, how'd you guys feel about this record in general?
I actually kind of liked it. I'm not always the biggest 88 Fingers Louie fan. I have a tough time with them sometimes, but I really enjoyed this.
I was very indifferent. I didn't care for it overall. I'll just say this. I find it interesting that this band, at least the early material that Fat put out, all these like early songs, and when they actually got good, they didn't put out any of the records. They just put out the early material that I don't think is very good.
Yeah, I wonder what that is. Was Hopeless a Chicago record label?
I don't know, actually. Let's find out.
It could be.
That would make sense considering a lot of the bands that he dealt with.
Yeah. It still doesn't make sense that Fat wouldn't put the better stuff out.
I agree.
maybe it was these things didn't sell well, and so Fat Mike didn't want to take the risk, and then they kind of stuck with um, Hopeless because they were willing to.
Well, so what I find interesting about this is that they're putting this out in 1997, but Behind Bars came out in 95. And
Oh,
I have not listened to Behind Bars in a very long time, so maybe, but that one, I think that did have better production. It did have better songs. And yet,
it was definitely more polished.
yeah.
Yeah.
These songs sound more polished than the last ones that we talked about, I think.
Sound a little rough to me.
Just to interrupt real quick, Hopeless was started in Van Nuys, California, specifically to release a Guttermouth record.
No comment.
Founded in 1993 as an excuse to release a 7-inch by Guttermouth.
1983?
No, 93.
Oh, okay.
That would be amazing if Guttermouth had been around since 83.
I mean, they look like they've been around since 83. The fucking singer looks like he's 100 years old.
I don't know what they look like right now.
You don't want to know. And that's coming from me. I'm not like the handsomest guy. Not a pleasant figure.
He doesn't look that old.
I don't know. Maybe not. I think he looks pretty old.
I mean, he looks like a 40-year-old suburban dad.
40?
Fair enough.
There's no way he's only 40.
No, like in his 40s. Maybe early 50s. He doesn't really look that old. He looks pretty good. When is this picture from? I'll
1995?
2003.
2017.
Yeah, fair enough.
From an article titled Banned No More. All right. So let's talk about each of these songs. I mean, as far as my opinion, I think that I thought it was a pretty good EP.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more character in these songs than a lot of the songs off of, say, Behind Bars, for example. But it is certainly sounds like it's surprising to know that they put out Behind Bars before this. Maybe it was recorded before that, though.
I think that's the case because Fat put out the Dom Years, and it feels like this was released right around the time that they put out the Dom Years. I don't know. I'm not really understanding why this came out.
It might have been like a preview for that. Like, you remember they used to do like the teaser EPs and stuff? It could have been something like that where they put the 7-inch out ahead of the Dom Years just as like a taste of what's going to be on the album, maybe.
Right. That's what they did with this Snuff EP we're going to talk about.
So is the album like titled like what is it the teacher gets? Like is it meant to talk about like a cool teacher that's into
like
punk,
understands you?
Like, yeah, or is it just, oh man, that teacher really gets me? Like,
I took it as the teacher gets it at like
one more move and the teacher gets it.
Yeah, right, like that. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
it was like a threat, like a threat. Yeah, it kind of comes off like a threat a little bit, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Yeah,
that's kind of how I took it too, to be honest with you.
Well, Song X, I thought this one was one of the better songs off of the Dom Years. In general, all of the Dom Years has a very driving beat. The lyrics talk about going to sleep angry with somebody on a couch, and I think that just sounds terrible. And I feel like
it does.
The sane move would be to just move to the floor.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, as someone who falls asleep on the couch pretty regularly, it sucks. Does not feel good.
Oh, I love sleeping on couches.
Oh man, I hate it.
It's not my. Not my like. I would prefer a bed, but like
sure.
sometimes the couch just feels good. It feels like it's like hugging you. It's like wrapping you in its love.
Yeah, I guess it depends if you have a good couch. I think I just have an old hand-me-down shitty couch. That's probably why.
There's definitely some good couches out there. Shout out to good couches.
Respect.
But no, like sleeping with somebody else while they're angry at you, or you're both angry at each other on a couch.
Oh yeah, that
Sounds
sounds
terrible.
torturous.
I mean, multiple people on a couch in general sounds terrible for sleeping.
Is that what he was
I
saying
feel like
though? Is he saying that like they're mad at each other so they're sleeping together on the couch, or he's sleeping on the couch because they're upset?
okay, yeah, that is something that I wanted to address. Going to be compelling radio. As I try to find the lyrics to
You
this,
can just cut that
they
out.
they're on plyrics.com
hmm
for future reference. So I
Yes.
fell asleep on the couch right next to you. Yeah, he says right next to you.
Maybe it's a big ass couch.
Maybe.
Probably like a chaise lounge.
Oh yeah. Pure
Those are
luxury.
sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then he says that we're fighting, so I don't feel all that well. Like, and that's just kind of you if I was fighting with somebody, I just would sleep on the floor.
Yeah,
Like,
or in a recliner or something.
yeah, sharing a couch is not pleasant in general. And so it sounds extra unpleasant with like somebody who's mad at you there as well.
Just never heard of anybody choosing to sleep on the couch when you would hopefully have a bed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mystery of the universe.
I don't know. Sometimes I just like taking a nap on the couch.
Sure.
Do love a good nap. I'll agree with you there.
And I don't know, as a kid, I liked sleeping on couches a lot. As a kid,
As a kid, it's so much easier though because you're made of fucking rubber and you can sleep anywhere pretty much.
pretty much, yeah.
As soon as you hit 30, if you sleep like the wrong angle, your head feels like you smacked into a wall. The whole next day, your neck hurts and got a headache and you're just crabby.
All right. So moving on from song X to Under the Covers. And Under the Covers, I thought was a clever topic for a song. I didn't think the song itself was all that great, um, but Under the Covers had a very good topic.
I like the song. I thought it vaguely reminded me of like a Wig Out at Denko's era Dag Nasty a little bit, which I'm always, always is a plus for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the music, I like the music. But I mean, I read the lyrics and I was like, why? Why? Why are we doing this? Because
I think it's kind of funny.
it's
Uh,
about, it seems to me that it's about sleeping with his girlfriend's mom.
I I don't even know if she's his girlfriend.
Are you?
Uh,
I don't know.
he's telling her explicitly in the song, "I'm not. Oh, not here just to see you, dear." Okay,
Right?
yeah. That's a
Yeah.
bit scuzzier. I just assumed that like I don't really
It
like
is
you that
very
much. I'm just
scuzzy.
here to hang out with your mom.
I like that one line changed everything for Ben in this moment.
Like he's leading her on there. It's not
Mm.
like he's
Muted the
just
audio.
coming there to hang out and see the mother.
Yeah, he's not there. He's not there to just do that. He even says in the song, "Don't be around unless you want today." Oh yeah, don't be around unless you want today, because all day I need to mate. Great lyrics, guys. And then at the end he says, "Just make sure that your mom's not there, or she'll pinch my cheeks and squeeze my rear."
I feel like this could have been written by well, no, it wasn't his girlfriend. I was gonna say Jeremy. It has very Jeremy and Sophie's mom from Peep Show energy to it.
Yeah, okay.
not just in my head. So I thought that this song fucking rocked.
The best one.
Thought it was it didn't sound like standard 88 Fingers Louie fare.
Yeah, I think the chorus was really, really great on this one.
It's stupid in a very good way.
Yeah. It wasn't my favorite song, but the chorus was my favorite part of, I think, of the whole EP.
Yeah, I completely agree. That was my
The drumming is ridiculous too.
Yeah.
Also, like the drumming, Dom gets to really go off on this one.
Yeah, the intro feels kind of weirdly clunky, but that central hook is good. And I like that it's just like a straight up fast track.
Yeah. All right. So that's going to do it for this short record. We're going to then move on to talking about Snuff's Schminkie, Minkie, Pinkie.
Which is
Um,
also known, I guess, probably in the UK as the Nick Motown EP.
okay, that's a much better name for it.
Yeah, Dr. Seuss sounding ass.
Right.
So, going through the liner notes to this was released on May 5th, 1998. The band lineup is assumed here because you could not find a full lineup listed anywhere, but looking at the credits on the LP that this is a teaser for, you can assume that it was probably the same cast of characters. So Duncan Redmond's doing what to me still seems like one of the hardest things in the world, which is vocals and drum together.
I don't know how that your brain even works that way.
Nope.
Yeah, I would not be able to keep a rhythm and sing at the same time like that, especially like the kind of faster beat that a lot of these songs end up having. Laz Wong on guitar, Lee Baxford on bass, Lee Murphy on organ, and Dave Redmond's coming in on trombone. This was recorded at Blackwing Studios and Southern Studios. It was recorded by Harvey Burrell, and it was mixed by Ryan Green.
An international.
Everybody you mentioned aside from Ryan Green sounds like they have a name that's a fake name you would give a cop. Like not one of those people has a real sounding name.
Harvey Burrell sounds like he probably runs like a bit of a scam recording.
Yeah, that's definitely somebody who runs numbers in like the back of a bar.
Yeah.
But like you can bet on anything. Like he'll let you bet on like high school games.
Wow, he's down at the dog track every weekend.
Yeah, he's at OTB. He's everywhere.
All right, so there is no additional info about the record, and so yeah, let's start to talk about these songs. Nick Motown is going to be on Tweet My Lovely, but it was put here as a teaser for that record. I feel like I've heard this song before.
It might have been on one.
It does feel familiar.
Yeah, it could have been on a comp.
Yeah, okay.
I love it. I think it's a great opener.
It is a really intense love song. And I can't tell whether it's too much or just right.
Yeah, I think this is the best one on here. So it makes sense that this is sort of like the lead. It's like the lead single. The only single.
Real punchy, like the horns. Anytime this band brings in horns, I get super excited.
Yes,
especially when they go as full ska as they do in this song.
Yeah, as usual, I think it's just having the keys and the horns give it that extra touch that make it feel that much better.
Absolutely.
It's a solid song. So I really like this one.
Yeah, I think that aspect, the keys and the horns, really make this song, and I can't believe that those words are coming out of my mouth.
Right.
But
in this context,
it really makes this song.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No,
Yeah.
solid song.
All right. So then we have okay. I could not find the next song that's on this.
What their
If
Spice
you
Girls
guys
cover?
could, yeah, you can speak to it. I
Oh.
listened to this on their Bandcamp didn't have the Spice Girls cover.
Oh,
It just
Oh,
had the
okay.
next two tracks. I
oh,
was confused why the description on
I linked it in the doc, or I thought I did.
uh,
Um,
the
I guess not.
yeah, so
Oh, I linked it in the
the
other. I linked it in a different doc. But yeah,
okay. The Bandcamp says it's a 4-song EP and then just has 3 songs. And I was like, maybe that's the joke. Like,
No.
no, that was
No.
It's
actually
for what it is. It's not. It's a fun cover. It's like 15 seconds too long. Otherwise, they could have probably thrown it on like short music. I feel like it would have been a good fit for that.
I like that you say it's 15 seconds too long, and it's like what, like a minute?
I think it's like 45 seconds. Yeah, but that's why I figured if you could have chopped that 15 off, could have thrown it on short music for short people.
Yeah,
Which I'm sure they have a track on, but I just don't remember.
I can't wait until we get to talk about that one.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
I get the feeling from listening to this one, they had to have been piss drunk in the studio and just wanted to fuck around and
Goofing around and riffing on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they probably just recorded it and thought that's really funny. We should just put it on there
Yeah. Why not?
because it's just a goofy distraction, really. And it's so short that it doesn't even matter. It's like by the time you even think about it, it's gone. But yes, it is really just a very small portion of the Spice Girls song "Wannabe."
I've had Spice Up Your Life stuck in my head recently.
Oh, that's a good one. Underrated song.
Damn
So
it! Now it's stuck in my head immediately.
suggested uh what's his name? The Doogie Howser.
Oh, Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, YouTube suggested a video of Neil Patrick Harris in a Doctor Who episode.
Oh, weird.
And he plays like a character that had been like in some of the 50s episodes, apparently, like the Toy Man or something dumb like that.
Oh, wow.
And like it's him just doing this joyous dance to spice up your life. Like he's turning people into confetti left and right. It was really fun, and
Great.
now I've just had spice up your life going on in my head for a bit. All right. Speaking of things that I'm gonna have trouble pronouncing,
I mean, you can try, but maybe we'll
Medaka
forgive you.
no. Is that's as good as anything?
Yeah, I went with Medaka no Gakko. That's what seemed right,
So
which probably isn't right.
I actually wound up liking this more than Nick Motown. I like Nick Motown a lot, but I thought that this was actually a bit better.
Hmm.
I'm assuming I'm alone there based on the high praise for Nick Motown.
I liked it. I mean, I don't think it was better than Nick Motown. I think it surprised me because it was a lot different than the first two tracks. Yeah, I thought it kind of ripped.
I think
Didn't
it's
dislike it.
specified that these were both like recorded live in the studio as opposed to like
Oh,
the
interesting.
normal recording
It makes
process.
sense.
I'm not surprised. I'd also say this is such a typical Snuff thing to do. They just never cover anything that you would ever actually expect them to cover. Like,
Right.
these guys are out there recording like covers of jingles from commercials and stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, I love how off the wall weird what they're pulling from is.
Yeah.
And I think the most interesting thing about this might be the only song I've ever heard a Western band covering a Japanese band and singing in Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
You just
really
don't.
interesting and caught me off guard too.
Yeah, you don't ever see that, and I'm sure that there are examples of it, but I just can't think of another one. It's usually the opposite.
No,
You know?
I can't. I don't think I can either.
Yeah, I thought it was for what it was. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit Cozy was a jam song of sorts.
Yeah, I really like this one.
So all I wrote was jam song, and when I came back to the notes, I'm like, oh, was this a song by the Jam? And was looking up the Jam Bit Cozy lyrics, and no, uh, it was a
I do.
actual jam song.
I love the electric organ in it. I think it's a great closer.
Yeah, this one's also on Tweet Tweet My Lovely, but I will be interested to see whether the version that's on the album has lyrics or not.
Yeah,
I guess it could go either way. I mean,
could be like a mid album interlude track or something.
it's actually on the latter half of the record too.
Huh.
I don't know. It's another weird choice, but yeah, I mean, these guys are so good at just playing music. Like, that's cool. You know,
Yeah,
it's a decent instrumental track. I liked it.
yeah. All right. Well, we are going to take a slight pause for some shout outs for the first time in a bit. I feel like we've tried to go for games and activities on our breaks a lot lately, but we're going to shout some things out, supposedly. Do you guys have any shout outs?
I'll go. I have one. I don't have the issue in front of me, but I'm a big comic book nerd, and this writer Rick Remender, same guy used to do. If anybody remembers, way back in the day, Fat Wreck would give the little catalogs out in the CDs. It would unfold to like a big poster, and usually there would be some sort of artwork or comics on the one side. Rick Remender was the guy who used to draw all those comics. He came up with a character named Blackheart Billy, this like punk rock robot character or whatever.
Well, I think he did the artwork for the Live in a Dive bracket.
I think you're
I was
right.
going to ask, yeah, if he had done any of those, yeah.
Yeah, Rick Remender.
And then fast forward a number of years later, he became a pretty prolific comic writer for Marvel. Struck out on his own, and his new book is called The Holy Roller, which is about a professional bowler who moves back to his hometown to defeat Nazis.
Is that with
and
Andy Samberg?
Yes, it's written by Rick Remender with Andy Samberg and Joe Troman from Fallout Boy. They're like
Dream team,
three
guys.
issues. I know, right? 3 people you would not expect to come together to write a Jewish vigilante bowling comic, but it's like 3 issues deep. It's really, really awesome. And by the time you hear this, it's probably gonna be like 8 issues deep, but it's well worth your time to check out.
I almost picked it up when I was at the comic shop.
It's really great. I would, when the trade hits, I would definitely say grab it.
Yeah. Ben, I picked it up while we were in the comic shop the other day, but you probably don't remember that because you.
Yeah. Alex, you got anything?
Nothing like related to music, I guess, and I mean that was like a great pick, Josh.
Thank you.
Just because of it actually relates to what we're talking about in some way. But I did so I watched a movie last night that I thought was absolutely hysterical, and I have to give a shout out to it. It's called Masterminds. It was directed by
sounds familiar.
It's directed by Jared Hess, who I really like a lot of his movies. I believe he did Napoleon Dynamite, which I still like. I haven't watched that movie in a very long time, but I'm sure I'd still at least like it. But I love Gentlemen Broncos. That movie is another like it's basically like if you like those types of movies, you have to watch this movie because the cast is amazing. It's Zach Galifianakis and Kristen Wiig and Owen Wilson, and then you got a bunch of like minor roles from great people too. But this movie is really stupid, but really, really funny if you're into that. If you're, I'll also say this: if you're not laughing really hard within the first 5 minutes, you're probably not going to like the movie. But it is based on a true story. It's about a guy who works for a armored truck company and just decides, like, I guess he is sort of like, I don't know about the real story, but the way the movie goes is that somebody sort of suggests that he rob it for them, and he does. And yeah, it's very goofy, but I thought it was hilarious the entire way through, which never happens. I can't remember the last time I saw a movie and laughed at every single scene. But yeah, it's a great movie, in my opinion, but probably not for everybody. Which I saw online, lots of people are like, "This movie sucks," but I think that's people just have a problem with Jared Hess's movies, I think.
Yeah, bits of that plot sound familiar to me. I almost want to say it's like a movie I watched on a plane because it
Hmm,
came out during a
maybe.
time period where I was on a lot of flights.
Yeah.
And so I probably only have vague memories of it because I probably watched it without any audio and the captions turned on or something like that.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think that it's the kind of movie that if it's funny, it completely hinges on everybody's performance. Um,
mhm.
like the things they say are funny, but it's really the way that they're being said that makes it really funny. Because I mean, Zach Galifianakis is just like, this is like, I can't imagine anybody else in this role other than him. He's really the only one that can do it.
Like he plays like kind of like a sad, pathetic dude, right? At first.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, he has a haircut that looks like it's, I don't even
Yeah.
know, like from like the Renaissance era or something. I don't.
He, he's had stupid hair in a lot of movies.
Yeah, I would say that's very true.
But there is one scene in this movie where he has like he has to go well, he's actually got a couple disguises throughout the movie, but when he goes to the airport, I mean, I just was almost crying. I was laughing so hard. So, yeah, it's on Hulu right now. But really, like, if you like that kind of thing, go for it. It's worth renting, even if you have to pay for it. You got any shout outs, Ben?
I'm gonna keep up my my bit of being somebody that has these sorts of halftime games, but never actually participates. And I'm gonna ask uh, for shout outs from the audience, which hasn't happened. I was actually just checking the mailbox today, and I was gonna read some viewer mail, but there's no viewer mail to read. So it
Because
is
you
what it is.
cowards won't write to us.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So the next record we're going to talk about, the last fat record we're going to talk about today, is Goober Patrol, the Eight of Spades. You can find these tracks on the Extended Vacation record. So the information we have is from Extended Vacation. And yeah, so we're assuming that this was probably mostly tracks that had come from the previous record or were recorded at the same time. Um, the band lineup here is Simon Sandel on guitar and vocals, Tim Snelson on guitar, Stuart Sandall on drums and vocals, and Tom Blythe on bass. This was recorded at Premier Recording Studios in Corby, UK. It was recorded by Ian Weatherell, and we don't know any more than that. So That's all we know. All right. So I liked this a lot. Um, it feels like more of Vacation. What'd you guys think?
I liked it. I thought the opener was really good. They seem like a band. I've never seen them live. They seem like they would really just crush live. I feel like they would just blow most other bands off the stage on any given bill.
Yeah, I feel like that probably is the case. Um, we could probably done some research on that and watch some Goober Patrol videos online. Do those exist?
I would hope so.
Probably.
I mean,
Somewhere.
they've probably played at the minimum. I'm sure they've played like Bizarre Festival, and that stuff gets shown on like international TV. So I guarantee you, there's at least a set or two somewhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it seems like this is a band that just, I mean, even just by reading the lyrics, they're all about having fun. They just want to have a good time. So I'm sure
Yeah.
that they would be really great to have seen live. Yeah, I think this is a a good EP. But I think it was totally worth releasing this record, but I don't feel that any of these songs are like better than anything that was on Vacation. I feel like if you listen to Vacation and you listen to these songs, you might think, "Oh, maybe they did this better on Vacation." But it's
Yeah,
still
like
good.
maybe it's just like a cutting room floor situation.
Right.
Some extra stuff just to kind of toss out there.
But it's still
Yeah,
good. I still really liked it.
Because
I
it does,
think
like Ben said. I think Ben, you said it kind of feels like a continuation of that, which makes sense.
Hmm.
and I feel like the songs are a little too long, and that's kind of
Yeah, I could see
probably
that.
why they got cut.
Hmm.
Like they all kind of overstay their welcome.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
do like that kind of slow breakdown towards the end of the first song, though. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I really like the guitar tone.
Yeah.
That they
Yeah,
use. I
the
think it
guitars
sounds
on this
really
are
good.
very awesome.
Yeah, it feels
Um,
like classic 90s punk.
I also, in terms of the first song, really liked how, and the first song, by the way, is called "It's Okay." Um, they kind of play with like the main, like that riff at the end, right? Like kind of like
Yeah,
variations on it that show up at the end, and I thought that was kind of neat,
yeah, I do like
particularly.
that.
Yeah, lyrically, I thought this one it's like another thing that made me think of the LP is like this one reminded me of what I thought was the best song on Vacation, The Biggest Joke. There's like a similar theme about like competing with people to be the best, but not doing it for the wrong reasons.
Mhm.
Um, it's sort of like it's just about like having fun and not taking your life way too seriously because you might wake up one day and realize that you were too cautious and too responsible and you forgot to live. So that's sort of a theme that they had running through Vacation.
Yeah. So we can then move on to talk about um, We Deal, You Choose. I thought that the opening of this kind of stunk, but then it kind of turns into a fun little ska punk ditty.
Yeah, it was very. I was very taken aback after the first song to have a follow up like this, where it feels like it's something that you could kind of slip into like a give them the boot comp and no one would really notice.
I think
Yeah.
it sounds like full on Suicide Machine Structure by Definition. Like it sounds like
Yeah, I could totally see that.
straight out of
By
that
the
record.
end, yeah,
Yeah.
I think. Is the song about fucking with somebody that has an anger problem? Because that's kind of what it sounds like they're doing.
Mm.
I could see that.
That's not really what I was, I don't know what it was about, and like so that's why I wrote my question was for you guys was is it about like media and pop culture influence that's like creating guardrails for your mind and you like maybe you don't realize it and so like you know you know how like sometimes something happens in the world, and you have a reaction to it, but if it seems like you're having a reaction to something that is completely inconsequential to your life, and yet you're still having it, but it's like sort of because the culture has predisposed you to reacting.
Mhm.
So that's sort of where I was taking it, like the whole idea of, we're sort of dictating what you think about, and you get to choose how you react to it.
Mhm. And, because of what they're dealing, you're always gonna end up losing.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
in a way, it
They're
is
in
about
control.
fucking with somebody with anger issues. That someone is just the British public, which is just as bad in some ways as the American public is
Mhm.
in terms of these
Sure.
kind of stupid, angry reactions.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I like this
uh,
one. I thought this was actually We Deal, You Choose is probably my favorite of the 4 songs.
mhm. Yeah, that like once it gets into its groove, it gets really good.
Yeah.
Up next is Overboard. I thought the song kicks ass, but it also overstays its welcome a little bit.
I would
Um,
agree on both accounts. It reminds me of later era circle jerks, like freaks, abnormalities, oddities, like that 90s era of circle jerks. Kind of got that sort of a vibe to
yeah, I thought that the lyrics were it's cute how hopeful they were
it.
in the 90s.
Were we all? There's nothing but jinkos and positivity.
Yeah, I thought it was maybe my least favorite of the 4, but I still liked it. It was good.
Yeah, I think it's a perfectly serviceable song.
Mhm.
All right, and then Years Behind. So, what do you guys think about Years Behind?
Apparently, I didn't think anything because I just wrote the title. I, I
That
listened to
says
it.
a lot.
Apparently, did not take notes on that track.
Um, I mean, I think I probably know why. It's because like it's not that long of a song, and the second half of it is just them jamming out.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember there being a whole lot to it other than like a quick kind of outro song almost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I think that if they had gone back and done a refrain instead of like jamming and fizzling out at the end, it would have been a better song.
Makes sense.
actually, I like that they just kind of made it into more of an instrumental second half. Because I just thought it was really cool. I thought it had a good vibe. So I actually really liked that they did that. It was something different, you know.
Mhm. All right. So now we're gonna move to I kind of feel bad saying this, but it's the truth. We're gonna move into um, the main event, which is today's today's Before They Got Fat. So now that we've shared our opinions on today's records, we're going to talk about a record from a band who was not on Fat at the time, but will release future albums through the label. And that record is Over the James by Avail. It was released on April 7th, 1998 by Lookout Records. Um, was eventually later picked up by J Tree, I think. Did anybody
Yeah.
pick it up
Yep.
between Lookout and J Tree?
Yeah, it was Lookout, then Jade Tree, and then now Epitaph owns it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's bounced around a bit, but originally it was on Lookout. Uh, Freaking love this record.
Dude, it's
I
perfect. It's a
I
perfect
feel like
album.
yeah.
It's my
I
favorite
remember
Avail record by a mile.
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
It's not 4 a.m. Friday, guys. Stop saying it's 4 a.m. Friday.
No.
It's not.
It's not.
It's also not Dixie. It's
Nope.
Over the James.
Yes.
I mean,
Over the
I
James
don't.
is the best. They're all good records. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
Over the James is the best Avail record.
Yes.
I think that there are
Sorry.
better songs on Dixie and 4 a.m. Friday, but there are not as many great songs on
No.
Dixie or 4 a.m. Friday.
I think this has the best songs. I think this takes the cake. Like I think this is Avail at their absolute pinnacle, and it's a shame. Like this is the kind of record that you hear and you're just like, I need to sign that band right now, and then you sign them, and
that
then
pretty much happened after this, right? Like
yeah. So
Yeah.
they signed to Fat after this record, and then they made a couple records that were good, but not as good as this one.
Yeah.
But god damn, this record is so good.
So good. I went through a really bad run of never having seen them, and then obviously they didn't break up, but broke up, or whatever you want to call it. And I was lucky enough to see them a couple years ago at the Richmond reunion.
That's
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
Which was just to see that band in Richmond was one of the coolest experiences ever.
I'm totally like that would have been amazing. So the first time that I ever heard Avail, well, I might have heard them on a comp before that, but I probably did. But I'd never really listened to them until I saw them live, and that was way back in like 2002.
Yeah.
And they were amazing. I mean, I had no expectations whatsoever, and they came out on
Was that the
stage.
tour with Propaganda?
No.
Oh, okay. Because that would have been that's one of my all-time shows. I'm jealous I didn't see was Propaganda and Avail.
No, you're gonna be kind of like it's almost embarrassing to say it, but they were. I don't. So the way that it went, I think Avail actually was the headliner, but everybody was there to see The Used.
Oh, interesting.
But the thing was, The Used were remember that night. I think that they were really sick, and they didn't. And they were really late. It's like they didn't like make the show in time. So Avail went on before them. So Avail played like a full set, like headliner set. I'm pretty sure because they played for a while. I remember, and then people were like standing around, like wondering where The Used was, like because I think that's what a lot of the people were there to see.
Sure.
And I just remember being like completely blown away by Avail. I didn't really care about I was really at that show just because a bunch of my friends were at the show. But I loved Avail after seeing them. And but then I remember The Used finally came out on stage and they played like 3 or 4 songs, and then like the singer just puked on stage and then they left.
Oh. I mean, that could have been a normal show though for that band too.
Maybe.
Like that's not totally out of character.
Okay. I think maybe even at the time I might have been kind of okay with The Used, but I know I was there just because a bunch of my friends wanted to go.
One of those many John Feldman bands that were thrown out there.
Oh god.
Although arguably probably the most successful one.
But I will say this though, the I missed the first part of their set, which is such a bummer, but the opening band was The Curse.
I got to see them one time and they were so good.
A band who released a total of 1 6-song EP or 5 songs. I don't know. And
5. I think it's 5.
It's 5 songs. It is fucking amazing, which is why
one of the best Philly hardcore records ever.
Yeah. And there is also an EP that they didn't release, like a demo.
Yeah.
It was like 6 songs or something. That was also really good, but the recording quality wasn't very good, but the songs were great. Such a shame that they never actually got to release it. It was the only thing they ever did. And
well, did they also put, or maybe this was part of the unreleased record, but weren't there 2 songs on that 4-way comp?
Yeah, there was two songs on the Philly Sound. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Wow, dude.
With
I gotta dig
was
that
it
up.
Knives Out, Go for the Throat, and somebody else, I think.
Fuck yeah,
The
that's
Curse
right.
and Paint It Black. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay, I gotta dig that up. I gotta find that. But yeah, Avail.
I can't remember.
Avail's amazing though live. Like they were.
Yeah.
I saw them. I think like 3 times, and they were fantastic every time.
I take that back. I did see them one time before that Richmond show. I saw them with Hey Mercedes and somebody else. It was like a real odd lineup. But it was Hey Mercedes, Avail, and I feel like one other. Oh, the reunion show. That not proggy, but like very kind of like keyboard driven, like pop emo type band.
Mm-hmm.
They were really good. It was a good show.
Yeah, I like Hey Mercedes. They were pretty good.
Yeah, I think I may have only seen Avail twice. That the first time is very impressive just because it was at like a bigger venue with the barricade, and that is certainly not the. I mean, sometimes it's the only way you can see them, but probably not the best way to see Avail.
Yeah, not for Avail.
Second time was much smaller venue, like tons of stage diving happening.
We saw them at Top
pretty
Hats,
awesome.
right?
No, I didn't go to that.
Mm,
That was with Only Crime, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Wow,
No,
I
I
can't
saw
believe you
him.
remembered that.
You
You didn't even go, and you remembered that.
That was a tour they were doing at the time.
Mm.
But yeah, I saw him at the First Unitarian Church was the only time.
Nice.
And then only other time than seeing it in a larger setting. I had a chance to see him a third time, but and I feel like this is gonna sound way meaner than it is. I had to sit through another Smoker Fire set to see them
I
again.
get that.
And I just was like, I can't do this, and left.
There was a point in time where I think I saw that band. I shit you not, like 5 times in a month, and I was just like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I can't keep doing
same
this.
here. Same here.
Because it was actually I think the week you and I met for the first time,
Yeah.
I had seen Smoker Fire in Cleveland like the week prior, and then they
Right.
played the Philly show of the Lifetime reunion. And like I came back home and I think they played Cleveland again.
They also played like the night before the first of the Lifetime shows with Planes Mistaken for Stars.
That's right. I do remember hearing about that show
the night before those shows as well. So,
what a cool weekend that was.
Yeah, I got to see a lot of a lot of.
I got to see Vision that weekend. There was never a thought in my mind I would ever see the band Vision.
Wow.
And like, not even like, I'll be honest, not even overall that great of a band, but that one particular record just really, really rips. And it was so cool to see them live.
All right, so let's talk about the record. Bringing it back to the record, at least. I know that I bought this the summer before I started college, and I think I listened to it no less than 200 times front to back. In terms of like, because I had to drive out there for like a visit, didn't fly for that, and then had to go out there to actually move. And I was just listening to this record on repeat. I think it is, yeah, it's the one Avail record where there aren't any songs where I'm, thinking about skipping them or anything like that.
No, there's no skips on this record at all.
So yeah, let's see. What are you guys' favorite songs off this record?
Please start at the top because Deepwood is like the ideal opening track. The chorus is so good. And seeing them play this one live was always just so cool. Like it just got the crowd going. It's like the perfect sing along that gets everybody pumped up.
It's a killer opener too, because they let that
Yeah.
guitar ring out, and
God,
man,
so
everyone just gets so psyched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that chorus is like, it's like somebody's like giving like a rousing speech, and you're rallying around them, because he says, but if you're afraid of the promise and afraid of the truth it contains, I know I haven't always been around, but I can help you lead and take the blame anyway. Like, that is so good. That is like, this is, Tim at his best here.
Yeah,
absolutely. Scuffletown for me is the go-to. It's a perfect hardcore song. It's really hard to fuck with.
My favorite
great.
It feels like a
Nickel
rallying
Bridge.
cry by the end of the song. Like you're so jacked, you're like, I just want to go hang out in Richmond.
Yeah. I think that Nickel Bridge into Scuffletown is such a good
Yes,
punch.
yeah,
Like
that one too is.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I have written. And I will say, yeah, it's Nickel Bridge into Scuffletown into Sanctuary 13. That is like a 1-2. That's a 1-2-3 punch. That is like you listen to those 3 songs, even if like you listen to like a 12-track record and you get 3 songs that are that good stacked together. You're probably,
Yeah.
even if the rest of the songs were not that great, you're probably thinking this is an amazing record.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because those
Lombardi
3 songs,
Street obviously is hard to fuck with too.
damn, so good. Yeah,
It's just the whole record's packed with just banger. Like it's really, you could throw a dart, hit any of these songs, and then just pick something great about that song.
totally. Yeah, but Nickel Bridge and Scuffletown, particularly, are 2 of
I mean,
my. Scuffletown's
Fifth
probably
Wheel too.
my favorite Avail song. Period.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Fifth Wheel. I really like Ask a lot. Lombardi Street.
Yeah, Lombardi Street's great.
But
I mean,
the first remaster, which I think is the Jade Tree one, has a really cool version of Lombardi Street that starts off acoustic, and about halfway through, like feedback picks up, and the full band kicks in. It's
that's
really really cool.
I'll have to check that out.
With respect to the reissue, I'm pretty sure this reissue is the one that has the Embrace cover on it of said gun.
Yep.
And that is
Yes, it does. Yeah, they close with
great
that.
cover of a really great song. Yeah.
It's so
It's
funny.
also got a great Billy Joel cover and an Elvis cover on it too.
It's funny because like I didn't even plan this, but I am wearing my Embrace shirt.
Nice.
That just happened to be what I wore today. But yeah, it's a great cover.
All right. Well, anything else you want to say about Over the James, or
If you haven't heard it, please give it a listen. It's well worth your time. If you listen to no other record we talk about this season, whether it be a Fat record or a Ravel record, this is the one to give a spin to.
I would be blown away if somebody that's listening to this podcast has not at least heard.
Sure. And I mean, like, if
songs from this record.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping that we start doing better with the Zoomers. Get more listens from that demographic. But we got
Gen Z to heavy fuck with Avail.
No cap.
Avail has 0 cap, guys. Avail is not sus. They have no cap. It's they got Riz for days.
They really do have Riz for days.
They had it here. I don't know about after this, but yeah, they had it here.
Oh, Front Porch Stories is good. I love that record.
There's some good songs on those records.
There are.
I mean,
one wrench is okay. You know, we'll obviously get to it later in the podcast, but I like Front Porch Stories quite a bit.
I remembered liking both of them. I think I did remember liking Front Porch Stories more than One Wrench.
It's definitely like the phrase people like to throw around is like a return to form kind of record.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a lot fat. Like One Wrench is a lot more like subtle and like mid-tempo type stuff taken and songs like that.
Yeah.
And then Front Porch Stories is way more back to like this kind of Avail, like Scuffletown and Lombardi Street style songs.
Yeah, I think it's just because I haven't listened to those records probably since they came out. Yeah, just because this one, Over the James, feels like it belongs on Fat Records.
Yeah, absolutely does.
The way it sounds, it's like, I feel like anybody that's familiar with Fat Wreck and the style of music that they put out, if you told them that Over the James was on the label, you'd believe it. It's just like
absolutely,
it fits perfectly with everything else on there. So it makes so much sense that they got signed after this record. Plus, I mean, who would listen to this record and think and not immediately just be like, "Oh my God, please just put out your music on my label."
Yeah. So,
The
Yeah,
highest of
right.
recommendations for this record.
Yes.
all right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. So, if you have any questions, comments, or most importantly, corrections on anything we might have gotten wrong, please email us at ontherecord@gmail.com so we can set the record straight in a future episode. If you like Over the James, then you should almost certainly want to listen to next week's episode about Good Riddance Ballads from the Revolution. Thanks for listening.
Later.